Welcome. So nice to have you with us today.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you.
So, Clovis, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Uh, my name is my name is Clovis Dixon. I'm also the founder and president of Education Transform Lives Foundation, or ETLF. Yeah.
So, let's go to ETLF in just a moment. I want to know a little bit more about you. Where are you from originally?
Oh, I'm from Liberia, West Africa.
When did you come here?
A long time ago. I came here in 1992.
Right as the Civil War was at its height.
Yeah, well, actually, the early beginning of the Civil War, or just shortly after the president at the time during the war was Samuel Doe. Was right after he was executed. Shortly after that, we my sister, my siblings, and I we managed to cross into Sierra Leone, and we lived in Sierra Leone for 2 years. And but 1992, at the time, my mother was already here in America. Um, so by the grace of God, she was able to process our documents as an immigrant. We came here as an immigrant on an immigrant visa. Uh, that was the year 1992.
As horrific as that must have been for you, you were still really, really lucky to be able to come to the States.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I just say that we just everything that took place, to be able to survive and to stay alive and to be able to come here to reunite with our mother. When I say our mother, I mean my siblings and myself. To be able to join our mother here was a blessing.
And I wonder how many were left behind.
Thousands of people were left behind, especially children, and were left behind.
So now, after these, almost 30 years,
Yeah.
how has America changed you? What have
Good.
you learned?
Well, I grew up in America as a teenager, as a preteen when I came,
About
and
12,
about
maybe?
12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up here, all through my life, I've learned in America that if you believe in something, you have to go for it. You have to fight for it, especially when it has to do with people.
Mm-hmm.
You have to fight for people because sometimes you have to become their voice. You have to fight for their dreams to become a reality.
And whose dreams are you fighting for now?
I'm fighting for the dreams of the children in Liberia, the dreams for children not just in Liberia but all over Africa and the whole world. Uh, because I believe that these children are these individuals hold something special in them.
Mm-hmm.
And what they hold in them, I deeply believe in my heart that the world desperately needs.
So, how is ETLF helping children right now? I guess you're starting with Liberia and then you're going to expand outward.
Absolutely. We start in Liberia and eventually we hope to expand all over Africa. Uh, but for the short time, we have been able to accomplish some great work in Liberia. First, we start with there's a college uh, in the southeastern region of Liberia, in a county called Sano.
Sano.
Sano, yes. In Sano, uh, there's a newly established community college,
Mm-hmm.
and during during the early existence of that college, uh, they did not have a library.
They had no library in
Yeah,
their college.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so when I got to learn through the ex-superintendent of the county.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Mr. Brown, Prosper Brown.
Mm-hmm.
After educating me on the college, I told him where I have a lot of educational material that would be of benefit to this college.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got to see some of the materials that I had in possession, he was very excited, and he went back and he told the college president and the staff, and he was able to establish a conference call between they and myself, and I had a chance to speak with my members of my team here, and we all got together and began to go to work on their behalf on Sano College behalf.
What did you do?
First of all, I worked for Bucks County Community College,
Mm-hmm.
and I must admit, the staff and of the college and the people of the college, the community, has been very supportive of the work we have undertaken, and therefore, many of the books that were either were not in use
Mm-hmm.
were given to us. If some of the equipments that were not in use, that were pretty much discontinued,
Mm-hmm.
like some of the medical equipments were
For
given
instance,
to
in our
us.
nursing department.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Those materials were given to us that we took and shipped to Sano College. And because of all of the materials and the books that they received from us, put them at the top, making that college the number one community college in the whole of Republic of Liberia.
Wow, that's amazing. So I imagine it wasn't just the nursing department that benefited from Buck's generosity.
Yes.
What other departments benefited?
Well, mostly, generally speaking, apart from the nursing department, there were other departments that benefited,
Business?
business, like
Engineering?
engineering.
The STEM areas?
Absolutely. Well, there are other needs which in time to come we hope to fill those needs, like in terms of agriculture.
Oh,
Yeah, but I do believe that in time to come we'll definitely be able to fill those needs.
when you say agriculture, you mean the development of the agricultural department
Yes,
and support of those students in that area at the school,
absolutely,
at the college.
absolutely.
And then I understand that you're also helping children in very, very difficult poverty-stricken areas to improve their education.
Most definitely. I discovered that as much as we are wanting to expand education to individuals, and it just happened that the first success was at the college. Now, we realized that just as much the needs were great at the higher educational level as the college, how much more the need is at the lower level,
At the elementary school
at the elementary level.
And
And
middle school.
we realized that the need is even greater. And so we kind of began to see how we can also extend our hands to the educational, like the elementary schools, like the public schools. And we were able to identify a few of the schools in the country.
Tell us about Toady. I know that's a great success story there.
Oh, yeah, we found out, we discovered a school in Toady.
What is Toady?
Well, Toady is outside of Monrovia, about 30 to 40 minutes away from Monrovia. Toady was, there are, Toady divided into two. It's divided into young one and young two. It just few, maybe like 1 mile apart from each other, but they both are the same. It's just that young two, I believe, is the more elementary, like more younger kids,
Mm-hmm.
and young one is more like bigger kids.
Okay.
But the problems are the same.
So you're talking about the actual educational district of
Ye-
Tody. Mm-hmm.
yes, and so when we learned about this school, we learned that many of the kids didn't have the means of getting clean water.
You mean they have no clean water to drink?
Yeah, and many of these children will go to the creek to drink. But then we realized that as we did more investigation with the school, we learned that there were actually a hand pump on the school campus that just wasn't working properly. And because there was no one who could afford to repair the pump, forced the children to go and drink from the creek.
How far is this creek, and what was the quality of the water like?
Well, the distance from the creek to the school is not that far, maybe like 200 to 300 feet away. But the water quality is poor, it's bad.
Mm.
Yeah. It contains a lot of waterborne diseases that if consumed, it will lead to a lot of health issues.
Mm.
So, but after we discovered
The hand pump?
the hand pump, immediately we took immediate action to repair it, and that was a great success for us because if these children is to learn and develop the potential, it's imperative that they also have clean, quality drinking water.
And for them to stay healthy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, how about the water that they were drinking at home? Were they also forced to go get water from a creek?
Well, the hand pump, there were actually a community, there was actually a hand pump uh, on the school ground and a hand pump for the community. Well, we learned that the community hand pump also was not working properly. And so people were forced to go and fish water from the creek.
That same creek.
The same creek.
Same
Yeah.
dirty creek.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen pictures of it.
Yeah.
And the kids would go in barefoot because they didn't have any shoes even to go to school with.
Yeah.
And in these pictures, I'll never forget seeing women wash upstream from the kids.
Yeah.
And other people bathing in the creek.
Absolutely.
And I imagine that contributed to the waterborne diseases.
Absolutely.
So this was a community, both an educational community and a ghetto, as I understand it. They are so poor, who didn't even know how to begin to fix those pumps. It would have been such an easy thing. And it took ETLF,
Absolutely.
an ocean and half a continent away, to come and fix the pumps. So how many people could now have drinking water? Hundreds?
Yeah, you could say that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I understand you just got back from Tody.
Yeah, I just got back, and Tony was just one of the schools we visited. Yeah, there were other. We actually visited 5 counties in Liberia.
So Tody is not a county; it's a school district.
It's a school district.
So tell us about the counties.
The other county we visited is one called. We visited a county called Riverside County. That school also have similar problem like Tody, where we couldn't fix the pump because
The
we
water
were on
pump?
we were on our way back from Sano, and we made a stop there
Mhm.
to Riverside County. But the distance from Riverside to Monrovia is quite a long distance.
Mm-hmm.
So we hopefully we will go back and to make sure we will repair that pump that we saw,
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to address the educational needs that that school is facing. We visited another school in a county called Grand Cape County,
Mm-hmm.
in a village called Jenny Brown Village.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jenny Brown Village, we visited that school too. They also had a hand pump on that school ground. Has been working for like 11 months. 11 months.
What's the issue? They don't know how to fix the hand pump, or they simply don't know where to get the money?
They just didn't have the money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they just didn't have the money available to fix it. And so we discovered a gentleman in another village, like maybe 20 minutes away. And that gentleman we discovered, he was trained and mentored by by another NGO
Mm-hmm.
that built a pump, and they gave him some parts in case any other pumps in the area is broken, he could repair them. But when we discovered the gentleman, we asked him if he could repair this pump
Mm-hmm.
that we discovered, and he said yes, he could. And we asked him how much he would charge. He said it depends how much we're willing to pay him. Yeah, because I believe he is not allowed to charge people because institution or another NGO like Study Pump pay him and train him for that. So I don't think he was allowed to
That's
charge
a
people.
very strange restriction.
Yeah. So as a result, he asked us how much we're willing to pay him.
I see. Mm-hmm.
So we said, okay, we'll make you an offer, which was very good. I mean, in terms of
In comparison to what he could have gotten
absolutely
in the village.
Yeah, and he was very, very, he was a blessing to us and blessing to our community.
What was his name?
To tell you the truth, I can't remember his name.
But we won't forget it once you go look it up and then
absolutely,
tell us again.
Absolutely. When I get back, I promise you, I will give you his name.
But anyway, so it sounds like water is a big issue throughout Liberia. Is drinking water a problem universally for an entire country?
Absolutely, yeah. In most places, it is a great need.
In many areas, like in the Middle East,
Yeah.
for instance, clean water is like gold.
Yeah.
And I imagine in Africa even more so. And aside from allowing these people to access clean drinking water, to assure them good health, then what have you been doing to improve the educational foundations of, for instance, the school in the Todi district? I understand, for instance, you helped them build their first library.
Well, in Todi, we are planning to actually establish their first library for them. They have an existing building that has been abandoned for some time. We just need to do some renovation in it,
Renovations. Mm-hmm.
and then be able to bring in some books and hopefully some electronics. If God bless us, we get some computers.
Oh, that would be wonderful, because I
Yeah.
know people in the community throughout Bucks and the surrounding counties here have been donating books and school supplies,
Sure.
especially children's books, because many of these kids have never seen a book.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think too that you mentioned that the teachers were very, very grateful for you and grateful to the people who you have on the ground in Liberia.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's not just ETLF is a transoceanic, transcontinental organization. Tell us about it. I know that you have been recognized by Liberia as an NGO, a non-governmental organization,
Yes,
and you're partnering with the government to bring good that they could not otherwise come by because the Civil War so devastated the country. They have not even recovered decades later.
sure, sure. I've been very blessed to have a lot of strong and committed young men and women on the ground that were able to reach out to some of the schools we have visited. Um, and because of their efforts, uh, many of the schools now have some hope, and we are we are striving to make sure that we meet the need that they are demanding of us. Um, and I remember one of the school we visited in Monrovia is actually in the is actually in the slums.
And the name of it?
It's called Booster Quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I visited the school, um, and you go in, you smell the odor that comes in is from the sewage.
Where is the
Yeah,
sewage? There are no sewage lines. The sewage is just
and
out
it's out in the
outside
open.
as if it
Yeah,
were in the Middle Ages. Is there even an outhouse out there?
so I go in there, and is and and one thing I learned on this trip I visited, I just came back from. I learned that it is important that we we ask what the needs are,
Mm-hmm.
because it makes it easier for us. Um, and so while I was in the school and asked them what would they need. I mean, I know that they needed a lot of educational materials, but I, as much as we want to bring a lot of resources, but I learned that there's some restriction because the government of Liberia have selected a specific kind of materials, books
Mm-hmm.
that to be were taught in school,
Mm-hmm.
and so I learned that these these specific books that the government requires, those books were lacking in the schools, and just didn't have enough, and the few they have is is old.
And I understand
It's old, yeah.
the kids have to share a pencil, one
Uh,
pencil among 20 kids.
yeah, well, was one of the schools. One of the schools in Todi. Todi was one of the school where, you know, some of the children had to share a pencil among themselves. Yeah,
Among a classroom.
but
Mm-hmm.
in Todi, in Booster Quarter,
Mm-hmm.
going back to Booster Quarter, one of the things that they told me they needed was cleaning supplies.
Oh, okay. To address that sewage out there, the kids
Absolutely,
are coming. They're
yeah.
walking through it,
Well,
probably.
not
You
walking
know.
through it per se, but and they want to sanitize the school.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure the bathroom is properly sanitized. Make sure the school itself, the floor is scrubbed properly. Make sure that the table and the chairs, the desk, those things are well properly sanitized. Uh, and also could provide some fresh, clean smell
Mm-hmm.
because
It's distracting.
very, very much indeed. Imagine sitting in that environment trying to study.
And
You
how old
can't.
are these kids?
Oh, they are from 5 years old to 13, 14 years old.
Are they
Yeah.
all in one classroom?
Well, uh, I the kids from elementary from kindergarten to probably fourth grade,
Mm-hmm.
all sitting in one big open space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the bigger kids like fourth and fifth grade are in one class, six and seven in one class,
Mm-hmm.
and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so to get the full picture, the community has no good sewage infrastructure.
no,
There is a bathroom in the school,
yeah,
but that's about it.
that's about it.
So, in terms of resources for just pure sanitation to keep the kids, we don't even think about taking a wipe and cleaning a desk off or a paper towel.
Yeah.
This school didn't even have that.
No, no.
And now they do?
Well, now we're working on it.
Okay, so tell us, if you had to make a Christmas list, what or a big wish list, year-round wish list, what would you ask for?
I think the bag that Santa Claus going to afford is going to be that bag will be maxed out. But I will say just
This is a wish list.
basic pencils and pen.
Let's start at the top.
Uh,
How about computers?
oh yeah, they need computers.
Do they have any?
No, they do not. They need computers.
Not through all of the districts, all of the counties you
All the-
looked through. 5 counties, not one computer.
All the schools I visited, there's not one technology in our school. Yeah.
And then what else? Computers, books. You probably need, is there electricity?
Some places do have electricity, some places don't. So I would say computers, generators to supply them with electricity.
At least to charge the batteries.
If generator is not feasible, maybe some kind of solar device that will be able to give them some electric,
power source.
some power source. But yeah, and
Books, school supplies,
cleaning supplies.
and cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
And money, I guess,
Yeah.
because you're not there all the time. And all the young men and women that you have working for ETLF out in Liberia,
Yeah.
they're the ones to identify the needs as they surface.
Yeah.
And they communicate those things to you.
Yeah.
So it's like, please send money. That's every college kid's, letter home. It's the only letter home. Otherwise, parents don't hear from them.
Many of these schools and colleges we visited, these children they don't want money. They just want a place where it's clean, and they just want copybooks, pencil. They just want computer. They don't really want money, but they want to be able to learn, to have access to the things that we have here that will take them to the next level in terms of their future.
So they can go through elementary school, middle school, high school, even through college level studies,
Yeah.
and become who they were meant to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So if we close with one thing, what are the next steps for the community? What can we do for these kids in Liberia? You are their voice. Ask.
Just to join forces with men. Work with men on how we can all sit down together and come up with some ideas and see how we can be effective in meeting the needs and the needs of the children in Liberia. How we can get these supplies to them
Mm-hmm.
so that they can have, so that their dream can become more of a reality.
So, what would the teachers say they need?
The teacher will say they need pens, a blackboard.
They have no blackboard.
Some places don't have a blackboard.
So you need then to actually, if we probably wouldn't be able to send a blackboard, or is that what you're asking?
If we can send a blackboard, we can send one of those whiteboards.
Whiteboards, absolutely, and perhaps they wouldn't be able to buy one out there, but then you'd need all the other things that are required of whiteboard teaching. You'd
Sure.
need the markers, you'd need the erasers, you would need also the materials that are the teachers require.
Yeah.
The teaching manuals.
Absolutely.
And the textbooks that come with a planned curriculum.
Yes. And I believe they have their own, like I mentioned, the government of Liberia have their own specific kind of material.
They just can't afford
They
them.
just can't.
The
They
school
just can't
can't
afford that.
them.
So in terms of the financial aspects, that's where the financial help
That's where donations
system
do come in.
Yeah, and also to be able to give some assistance to volunteers that are on the ground.
How can we help your volunteers?
One of the main thing is some stampy. So to have some little pocket change, like
A
just
stipend for them. I was just going to ask you,
yeah.
do they have regular jobs, and then on top of that they're doing the volunteer work for you?
Many that are working with us do not have regular job, but they're willingly volunteering the time.
They're true volunteers.
Yeah, they're true volunteers. Absolutely. And
how do they live?
And the few that do have some little job here and there, it's just something they're just doing here and there to sustain themselves. But they are willing. I mean, these guys are putting their life on the line to reach out to these schools, because they tells me that what this tell me is, the city man, if you are in the States and are going through what you're going through for the betterment of these children, then we are here, must also step in with you.